The car you see behind me is my 2000 Toyota 4Runner. I acquired this about 3 months ago and I put some work into it. I picked it up for $2,700. It's got 239,000 miles. When I got it, it had 237, and it's been incredibly fun to drive. I'm going to be getting rid of it today, actually, and I'm sad to see it go, but I wanted to let you guys know why you should buy a 3rd gen 4Runner. Before we go into the features of the car, I wanted to give you a heads up as to what to look out for when buying one of these. To look out for strawberry milkshake. These have a habit of the radiator, the bottom portion of the radiator failing, and that portion houses the transmission fluid. So it ends up mixing with the coolant and going into your transmission and causing what looks like a strawberry milkshake. The way you want to check for that is pop open the coolant reservoir, check that, make sure it's not all milky and gooey. The other way to do that is to pull the dipstick, check the dipstick, make sure you don't have like a strawberry milk residue in there. If that's not there, you're safe. But when you buy the car, just ask the previous owner if he's ever done the radiator, or some people choose to add an external cooler, and that'll be right there, away from that B. Obviously that B had a rough ending in its life, but they'll have mounted an external cooler right there, and that will eliminate the problem for the foreseeable future. I went with the route of replacing the radiator. It was 80 bucks and then $40 for 2 gallons of coolant, the red, and you change it every 80,000 miles and just keep checking it. Rust on these is a common issue, as well as lower ball joint failures. So right there is your lower ball joint. You want to make sure that looks good. There's no play in it. The OEM ones have a grease fitting, which you can see it from the other side of the lower ball joint. CV boots tear quite often. I replaced the CV boots on this one, both sides. Some of these were equipped with a rear locker. This car has that feature. You want to make sure that works. And that's really about it. These guys are virtually indestructible. To recap, you want to check the transmission fluid, you want to check the frame for rust, you want to check the lower ball joints and the CV boots, and that's really about it. The engines are extremely reliable. They don't really have issues. The timing belt is right under this cover right here. So if you're doing like a full thorough inspection, you can undo these 10mm bolts, just pull it back and do a quick inspection before you buy the car. So when I picked up this 4Runner, it did not have the wheels that you see on it. It needed a little bit of work. Again, I purchased it for $2,700, and I had to do CV axles, I did the radiator, I did new tires, coolant flush, I detailed the car, and spark plug wires. I drained the transfer case fluid, the differential fluids, and the car has been in really good shape. They made these from, I don't know the starting year, but I think 95 is when they introduced the 3rd gen, and then they continued it on until 2002, and it was replaced in 2003 by the 4th generation, which added the option for a V8. This one is run on a 3.4 liter V6 that is timing belt driven. It is a non-interference motor, so you have to change the timing belt every 90,000 miles, but if it snaps or it seizes on you, you will be okay. The pistons and the valves do not interfere with one another's space, so you're okay there. I threw my Thule bike rack on there, as well as my my cargo carrier, because I've been using this for mountain biking. I mean, it performs flawlessly. It's got tons of great features. This one's a limited, so it's got leather seats. They're not heated. I don't think they were heated until 2001. So just leather seats. They held up really, really well. Only a minor bit of rust right there. You can fit 265, 75, 16s on there without any rub. It'll look really aggressive. These are Duratrack Wranglers LT tires. Moving on to the interior, window controls, very, very basic. Again, this has the rear locker, and what you want to do is you want to get the car neutral, switch the 4x4 on. So this is it's a multi-track 4x4 system. Pushing this button here will engage all-wheel drive. I'll get an indicator on the dash, as you can see right there. Once it solidifies, the yellow light in the middle will shut off and the 4 wheels will turn on. That lets you know that the vehicle has engaged all-wheel drive. There we go. There's the thunk. The transfer case is engaged. And then you can pull it down into 4 high, as you can see right there. What that's going to do is it's going to turn on that center diff and lock the transfer case. You are now in part-time 4x4. You do not want to use this on dry pavement. You will destroy your diffs, you'll ruin your transfer case. Let me move forward just a little bit to get it to engage. And once it's ready, it'll turn solid, I believe. There we go. So now it's fully engaged in part-time. Now you can opt to put it in neutral and as low as 4 low. What you need to do is you put the transmission in neutral. You'll put the transfer case in neutral, and then you'll shift it into 4 low. Now you're in 4 low, and you've got maximum torque. Obviously, you want to put it back in drive before you start revving the engine. That's that. Next, once you're in 4 low, you want to throw it back in neutral and push the rear locker button. You will get rear diff lock. That light will come on. It will stay steady. Steady means that it is working. And then you'll put it into drive. Now, once again, you want to have the transfer case in 4 low and the transmission in neutral before you engage the diff locker. If you do it any other way, in any other sequence, it will not work. Put this back into 2-wheel drive. Once that shuts off, it's safe to put it in drive, and you can drive normally. You're okay. A common issue with these is the climate control no longer functioning. So what it'll do is the buttons behind, well, the circuit board behind these buttons will, as you can see, will not be as responsive as it would be normally. So, I mean, mine is not in horrible condition, but it's getting there. So it's working now. But occasionally it'll be on the fritz, for example. You know, can't do auto. I mean, AC, the AC button always works. The AC in this car works. Make sure that works. This button right here is for your rear window. If you notice, turn the camera around. Every 4Runner has this feature. It's an amazing feature. When my dog is back there, he loves poking his head out the window and just barking at people. Let's see. Next, we've got the shifter itself has a button on the side for overdrive. Now, if you're going up hills, you want this to be off because, as you know, overdrive basically has the engine rev as low as possible to maintain fuel efficiency. When you push this button, it's going to give you an indicator right there saying overdrive off. Every time you start the vehicle, overdrive is automatically on. If you want to shut it off, you got to press that. And then you have another button here, ECT, which stands for I don't know, electronic controlled transmission maybe. You push this, you get a little indicator right there that says ECT power. What this does is I don't know, it tells the transmission you want more power. Something like that. 1990s technology. Okay? You've got 2 cup holders. You got to mind the cup that I got in there right now. I had a long drive yesterday. You get a center console. That's a 2-stage. Glove box is very spacious. This one's got a sunroof. As you might have noticed, I have an aftermarket radio. That is not the stock radio. They did not have that in 2000. Moving on to the back seats, you get a separate climate control, which is awesome. So you have high, low, and then how much heat you want down there. You get an ashtray and some cup holders. The back seat is very spacious. You could comfortably fit 4 people back there, although 3 is probably the limit. Best part about these cars is the headliner will never sag. It is like a one-piece thing, and it's awesome. I love this headliner because you get a lot of old SUVs where the headliner is like a fleece fabric and it sags, and it's just a bad time. It's just a bad time. So, to wrap up, this car's got 239,000 miles. It'll probably run for another 500,000. These things are incredibly reliable. I love it. Part of me is sad that I'm getting rid of it. And yeah. So to wrap up, I love this car. I have been a Jeep guy all my life. You know, I love the Land Cruisers. I know that they're incredible machines, but I decided to take a chance and buy a 4Runner, and quite honestly, I feel like it's been the best decision I have ever made. I'm selling this because I'm upgrading to a 4th gen. I really want that 4.7 liter V8. I love that motor a lot. I love the look on the 4th generation 4Runners, and I would keep this if I could. If financially I could keep this, I would keep this thing, and I would just buy a second one, because honestly, Toyota has completely swayed me. This is just an incredible machine. Jeep has its benefits, and it's a great brand. They make incredible SUVs. You know, back in the 90s, the XJs, the CJs, the YJs, the TJs, those things are indestructible, just as indestructible as these are. Toyota's still making these, and they are honestly just as robust as they were in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, late 2000s. They have really just kept their formula true, similar to the Jeep Wrangler. But they've done it with this, the Land Cruiser, the Lexus GX 460 or 470. It's interchangeable. So, what should you look for when you're picking up one of these? Look for the lower ball joints. Make sure they've been serviced. If the previous owner has no records, then check them yourself. I would bring it to a mechanic. Honestly, pay the $100. If it's something that you really, really want, bring it to a mechanic. Tell them you want him to check the transmission fluid. You want him to check the lower ball joints, CV boots, you know, just the general condition of the car. Make sure there's no rot. Make sure there's no frame rot, no major rust. Bring a hammer with you and bang on the frame, because you know these things have a tendency of rotting out. A lot of people wheel these hard. They drive them through salt and snow, and they never ever wash them enough. So that's that. Transmission fluid, the strawberry milkshake, that's pretty evident. Buying one of these, the first things I would do is the lower ball joints. If there's no records and you get a really good deal, take it to a shop or do it yourself. Lower ball joints, transmission fluid, check it. If it's good, I would just replace the radiator. Honestly, $120 is peace of mind for 5-6 years, worth every penny. Do it. Change out the radiator. Flush the transfer case, flush the differentials, and you know, if it needs spark plugs and spark plug wires, send it. You know, throw those things in there, and you've got a car that's going to last you a very long time. This is a perfect example of that. 239,485 miles, and still running. Does not misfire. Always starts up in the morning. Every window works. There's, Toyota reliability is hands down incredible, especially in the early 2000s when they were just trying to pull everybody from every other brand into their lineup. That's why they created all these different vehicles, one to suit every audience. They did a great job. I love this car. I'm excited to be getting into a 4th gen, and once I pick it up, I will show you guys that ride. Thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, all 148 today, April 18th, 2019. And I hope those of you new that are watching the channel will be kind enough to leave me a like and subscribe. I'm looking to grow this channel a lot. You're going to be seeing a lot more videos, and I'm just going to shoot them. They may not be edited to the 110% quality that my brain wants them to be at, but you guys are going to get a lot of content through the channel, and I hope you stick around.